afternoon, the ambulance service declared another what's called an OPSTAT white, which means that the ambulance service is unable to meet response times for emergency cases. And sadly, two of the cases that received a very long response time, that those patients have passed away. For one case, it took 56 minutes for an ambulance to arrive. For another, it was about 45 minutes. Most distressingly, though, this is off the back of two deaths last Monday as well, after prolonged ambulance response times. We had a short reprieve over the last couple of months whilst elective surgery was cancelled and ramping was brought somewhat under control. But with elective surgery now back on, we've seen an immediate return to the new business as usual, with record ramping levels and incredibly long response times to emergency cases. So it's just incredibly tragic and concerning.
So how long should people expect to wait for an ambulance to turn up?
16 minutes in both of these cases, that they were triaged as priority 2 and should have had an ambulance there in 16 minutes. And as I said, one was closer to an hour. So it's just absolutely unacceptable and potentially avoidable.
And roughly, Leah, how often is that target wait time of 16 minutes being missed?
Increasingly so. So the Productivity Commission from the financial year 2020 to 2021 showed that Adelaide has the worst response times in the nation, 50% above the national average at 34.4 minutes. And for a 1 week period at the start of January this year, priority 2 performance particularly, we were only meeting that target about 32% of the time. So the vast majority of emergency cases we're not getting to in time.
So why are ambulances so stretched?
We've had at least 4 years or even more of inadequate investment in the ambulance service. We've only had, in the last 4 years, ambulances put on very recently, and they've only been to the order of 3 extra crews in the metropolitan area. That's nowhere near as much as what the demand for ambulance services has increased over that period. We've also seen a record escalation in ramping numbers over the 4 years as well. So it's a combination of factors, under-resourcing of the ambulance service and ramping combined, creating this disaster situation.
The state's health minister has launched a review into the deaths of the 2 people overnight and has also offered condolences to the families. But Stephen Wade also said that not every call-out can prevent a death. He's right on that, isn't he?
Certainly, but if we're not getting to emergency cases around 60% of the time, then the risk of that occurring is hugely increased. It may not be every patient that we get to that will save their lives, but their best chance is if we have an ambulance there within the required timeframes. And I think that's what every South Australian deserves. I think that's what every Australian deserves, is an adequate ambulance service that will be able to be there in their time of need. And at the moment, South Australians are not getting that.
Is this tough on your members, Leah? What are they saying about the situation?
Incredibly distressing that not only are they racked with the guilt or that feeling of responsibility that they should have been able to be there sooner, that they may have been able to prevent someone's death, not in all cases, but in some, and that they've trained for years and they have the equipment to be able to save people's lives. It's why they get into the job, to be able to do that. And so to be hamstrung in that way and arrive after someone has passed away is that realisation in itself is tragic and weighs on their minds, but to then add to that the grief of the family when they walk into that situation, that they're the first person from the ambulance service that they see, and this family or these families are dealing with having watched their loved one pass away before their very eyes, or in some cases walked in and found their loved one to have passed away after a delayed ambulance response. And it's just tragedy upon tragedy.